Today we're going to talk about mortgage rate bait. Yeah, what's mortgage rate bait? It's simple. It's when you see a news publication or a CEO or somebody talking about these amazing low interest rates their company is offering, but it's not real. So I'm going to teach you today how to tell if it's just rate bait. Because here's the thing, if you're looking at getting a mortgage, whether you're buying or refinancing, you want to make sure that you're working with a lender that A, is being honest, B, transparent, and C, following the rules. That's right, guys. Mortgage world has so many rules and there's so much compliance. And if you want to make sure that you're not taken advantage of, the first thing to look for is, are they following the rules? So if you're new to this channel, I've been a mortgage lender for 19 years. My team consistently has been one of the top purchase teams in America for the last few years. If you need a mortgage and you want to work with someone super transparent, there are thousands of videos I've done over the last 9 years. You can investigate me. You can investigate me till the cows come home. 786-933-2077. So let's talk about the big clue that it is mortgage rate bait. If you see a company, it's an advertisement. We see a lot of this on TikTok where they'll have an ad and there's a rate. It says 3.25 and you're like, wow. Oh, that's amazing. It should always have the APR. The APR is the cost to get that loan. So it could be 3.25, but it might be 4 points. Points are what you pay to buy down the rate. So on a $400,000 loan, 1 point is $4,000. 3 points is $12,000. Honestly, truly, you can't even get that rate right now with 3 points. But the whole point is there is a law to stop mortgage rate bait, and that is having to disclose APR as well as the terms. The terms are, what do you, as the potential borrower, what scenario was this rate based off of? And sometimes I'll laugh because anything you guys get in the mail is trash. It's that simple. Anything with a rate in the mail is trash. Throw it away, have a good laugh at it. But it's funny because some of them won't have the disclosures like they're supposed to. They won't have the APR. They won't have, the body that says what you have to do to qualify. But some of them do, and you're like, oh, this is hysterical. So we'll see something where, they're trying to refinance a veteran. And with a VA refinance, like credit score doesn't matter. There's so many things that don't matter at a large level, as well as loan to value. And you look at the disclosures and it's like, this is based on an 800 credit score, a 40% loan to value, and, like these terms that nobody's going to qualify for, and 7 points. And you're like, wait, you can't even legally charge that. Like, how does this make sense, right? The reason APR and disclosures are supposed to be with any rate is so that you as a consumer can go, oh yeah, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. Excuse my French, but it is bullshit. Now, what are we seeing that's causing me to do this video? It's a game of catch me if you can right now in the industry. We see a lot of this on social media. Some of it's ignorance. Big brands often have people doing social media that don't understand mortgage rules. So they're like, oh, the national rates like XYZ, we'll just put that and say, call us. And it's like, no, you have to have the APR, you have to have the disclosures. So you've got people just posting rates without doing that because they don't know. The other thing you have going on, and I've seen this a couple times where it's major lenders, and you're like, shouldn't they have decent social media that goes through compliance? Here's what they do. So I saw one recently where I looked at the rate and I was like, what planet is this rate from? Rates haven't been in the twos since 2022. Like, it's been a hot minute. They never took the ad down. No, they had an ad. The disclosures were all old AF, right? But they just had an ad that was doing well, so it looked like they were just continuing the spend and continuing the spend. Now, here's the thing. Would it occur to a compliance manager to go, oh, they need to stop that ad? No. Would it occur to someone who does social media that you can't run rates that don't exist, even if you have disclosures that are dated from, 1904? Of course not, right? The people who think about stuff like this, honestly, it's like probably 6 of us, right? It's people who know the lending rules, are actual loan originators. I know so many of them because I'm personally licensed in 48 states. My team's in 50 states. The amount of education I do is insane. But it's because I've got that compliance head from being a loan originator, but I also do social media. Those two worlds don't usually meet. So a lot of what you guys are seeing is because they have no idea what they're doing. So social media, would I ever trust a rate advertised on it? No. I mean, look, you can't trust half the stuff on social media. I was watching a TikTok video the other day where a real estate agent was bragging about how she bought a house with FHA as a rental. It's an owner-occupied property that it should have been. She was just talking about how she committed fraud. I look forward to the FBI investigating her. You know, there's stuff like that all the time. Now, that's if they're just dumb, right? Or that's not nice. That's if they just don't understand the rules and haven't properly researched their job. Now, you also have people that are just breaking the law. They know what they're doing is wrong. They don't care. They just want you, the consumer, to call. So what they're doing is they're putting clickbait rates, as I call them. There's no APR. There's no disclosures. Half the time, you have no idea who the company is. That's the other thing, guys. Whenever anybody's advertising rate, besides the APR, besides the big bar that says what you have to do to get that rate and when that rate is from, you got to have the company. You need an NMLS number. If you guys follow me on Instagram, Jen Beeston, it's got my NMLS number in my title, And that's so you can look up my number and verify she's a legit loan officer. These are the states she's licensed in. This is her contact information. If I call, this is who I'm calling. And then with companies, you know, companies need to have their NMLS number. And what we're seeing is these chop shops, as I call them. That's my nice name. Come up with other ones, guys. Have fun with it. The chop shops are, you know, they're just doing these ads. They have no disclosures. They don't have the NMLS numbers, and they have a phone number that when you look it up, it's masked. Oh, yeah. And I say that because, look, I'm one of those people that's like, who is this? You know, our legal team at Rate's kind of awesome, and they'll like help me look sometimes. They're like, it's masked, and then I've got like a hacker, and we're like, it's masked. Like, they're really going out of their way so you can't figure out who they actually are as a lender. And you have to go, hey, if I Google a phone number that a lender's giving me to call and nothing comes up tying it to a lender, what are the odds I'm about to get? The odds are very high, friends. The odds are very high. Even if you Google, right? Like my main number for me, Jennifer Beeston, for over a decade was 707-478-0637. You Google that, you are going to see stuff come up. Recently, about a year and a half ago, I did a team line, right? Just because like my phone was blowing up. I was getting calls at 3 a.m. It was a lot. And that's 786-933-2077. Google it. Stuff will come up everywhere, and that's what it should be. You should be able to verify that it's a legit lender, okay? So on social media, we've got the people that just have no idea what they're doing. They don't know the rules, or they have ads going from 4 years ago. Then you have the people that are definitely trying to take advantage of you with using clickbait rates. You also have people that are using clickbait on social media to steal your identity, guys. So once again, you need to verify that who you're reaching out, who you're messaging, who you're calling is legit. And look, personally, I've had accounts that have pretended they're me, and I think it's always good to make sure you're double checking numbers. You know, do not ever give your social security or your date of birth in direct messages to any loan officer. I'm never going to, like if you watched me on Instagram and you're like, hey, Jen, I want to work with you. Like, what do you need? I would never say, give me your date of birth and social security, ever. I would say, hey, let me have my team call you. What's the best number? Or, hey, like here's the link to my app. If you go to the application, you can see that I work at Rate Mortgage. You can see all my licenses. You can see we're legit, you know. But if someone's asking you for your date of birth or social security on social media, be afraid. Be very, very afraid, because that is the thing that's happening. Okay, so what else? Oh my God, the media, guys, the media. I'm a little hyper for this video. A lot of coffee today. Okay, let's talk about the media. So the inspiration for this whole video was yesterday I got sent this article that was like, Opendoor CEO, 4.99% rates, announces 4.99% mortgage rates. And I'm like, what? And I started reading the article and it's like, on his X account, he talked about how in order to grow Opendoor's mortgage program and help with the sales of Opendoor, the platform, they're going to be doing 4.99% interest rates on mortgages. And I'm like, what are the terms and conditions of this? What is the APR? Who is eligible for this? It's all on his X account. On his X account, here's the disclosures, guys. This won't be a forever rate, and it's not for everyone on everything. What? Like, over 20 news outlets picked up that this company is doing and going to be doing 4.99% rates, and there is nothing that verifies A, it's actually happening, B, what you have to do as a home buyer to qualify, and see if it's even real. What are the fees? And he's like, oh, no cost or fees. Okay, that doesn't make the APR the same as the rate. That's not how it works. And you're like, okay, well, Jen, was he trying to be deceptive? I don't know. Like, I would say no, because my guess is, the CEO recently came over from Shopify. He did amazing things there. He's clearly a tech guy, but mortgage world is different. You can't just say things like that, because we have a duty to you, the borrower, where if we are trying to entice you with an interest rate, we have to tell you what you need to do to get that rate. We can't just float it. Okay. And that's what was really interesting. So it's like, Google it, by the time this video usually comes out a couple days after I film it, just because of audio, whatever. But look up Opendoor 4.99%. Like, it got picked up by so many news outlets. It was based off of a tweet. A tweet. That's the thing. We live in a world where what's real is harder and harder to find. The fact that the media, I actually think it's hysterical the media picked it up, because I think I don't know, if I was a class action attorney, I'd just be sitting there going, another one, I can't wait. But the media is picking up tweets from CEOs, and none of this stuff has disclosures, and that's wrong. Okay, so look, the bottom line is this: mortgage rate bait is happening every day. Sometimes it's intentional. People are trying to deceive you so that you call them. And look, you're like, well, if I call them and then it's not real, guys, they will trick you till the closing table. They will. And you'll get to the closing table and you better read those docs, because we get calls all the time where people are like, I was supposed to close today on my refi, but then the paperwork was all different. And it's like, yeah, because you never read any of the other paperwork and they totally were conning you. People are having their identities stolen, right? And then other people are responding to ads that are 4 years old, or a tweet from a CEO that doesn't know about the SAFE Act, right? That's what it's called, the SAFE Act. That's what regulates mortgage lenders, what we can say, what we can't say, APR, all that fun stuff that we have to talk to you guys about. So look, I hope this video was helpful. I wanted to talk to you guys about it because we live in a world where everybody's playing catch me if you can. And there are not enough sheriffs. So you've got to be your own sheriff. Questions, comments, want to work with a lender that will actually tell you the truth, not play games, quote you the rates we really have that we can really deliver and lock you at? I know. It sounds too good to be true, right? How crazy is that? Honesty and transparency almost sounds too good to be true in today's world. It's legit. Check out our reviews. 786-933-2077. Thanks for watching.